Hello everybody, welcome back to another LEGO City update. Recently I built the LEGO Ideas A-frame cabin, and the placement of this set in the LEGO City has sparked some huge changes. In order to make space for that, I had to increase the size of the campground, and I did that by reducing the size of the boat docks. The LEGO City is always growing and changing, and with this change, I think, comes even more changes. By removing half of the boatyard, I freed up two 48 by 48 base plates here in the LEGO City, and my intention is to allocate that to the campground. I've already slid over the farm and a little bit of the campground there, and my original idea was to slide over this right there, freeing up a bunch of space right here next to the Ninjago Mountain and the zoo. And you know what? I still think I might do that. Look how easy it is to move our mills plates. One-handed. So my original idea was to slide that over just like that there, and then build a grassy hill starting here, sort of blending in with the Ninjago Mountain, and that's where I would place the A-frame cabin. And then of course I would have to tidy up this area here, add some new and improved detailed trees to the campground and freshen it up a bit, and then build two 48 by 48 plates right here that are customized to accommodate the larger campground and of course connect this creek. Another thing I could do to increase the amount of space in the campground with this current layout is actually remove this road right here and then create two custom turnarounds, one right there and one over here that services the zoo, and of course I'd have to fix the campground road as well. That would free up a bunch of space right here, and I could use that additional space for the campground to create more elevation. To be honest, that's probably the most logical and easiest way to gain the space we need in the campground. Also, it removes that road, which really doesn't need to be there. It just adds a lot of gray to the city, and there's not much storytelling that you can do on a road compared to a campground. Speaking of storytelling, I've sort of failed to create a cool story here at the boatyard just because, I don't know, I haven't had the motivation to start working on this and give it the attention it deserves. But now that the boatyard's half the size, it would definitely be easier to manage and easy to add detail to. But I don't know. Boatyards are just sort of boats sitting in water, right? I guess those sets are pretty cool though. So I was down here the other night for about an hour just thinking about the LEGO City layout and how we could improve it. There have been lots of comments in the past that have suggested that I move the beach right over here to where the boatyard currently is. So now I'm thinking maybe we should remove the boatyard and move the beach over here so it's by the campground and the farm. If the beach was gone from there, then what we could do is stretch these sections of modular buildings all the way up front here. So for example, Town Hall and that awesome fountain in front of Town Hall would be right front and center. The beach would be visible, Buzz Lightyear would be visible, and the modular buildings would be more visible as well. Also, we would no longer have this row of modular buildings facing the opposite direction. Making big changes like that, though, are always a little bit complicated because of the domino effect. So right now, the boatyard is 4 base plates. The beach, starting right here with the lighthouse, stretching all the way to over here with the Ferris wheel, is 7 base plates long. So of course, I can't just slide it over and have everything work out perfectly. Also, we have to factor in the raised train track because it currently turns through the city like that there, and that would also disrupt the row of modular buildings. And even if this row of modular buildings and this road right here slid all the way forward, so the road was right here and the modular building was right there, the train track wouldn't be able to go in the middle of the road because of that pillar. It'd have to do some sort of weird curve to make it to the center of the road, which would be where that Ferris wheel currently is. There is just so much to think about with this layout here. I really want to do this change. There's just so many other things going on in the LEGO room right now, but hey, this would look pretty cool and it would sort of transform this whole section of the LEGO City. So another issue is the fact that these boats will no longer have a home. These awesome boats that do in fact float would have to be stored away or put on display somewhere else until we have a larger LEGO room that can accommodate a boatyard. So I've actually been giving this plan a lot more thought than what I've been disclosing in this video so far. I've got some really good ideas that are going to help transform this area, and we're actually going to start making these LEGO City changes today. So let's get started. First things first, you got to get all the boats out of the way and pretty much deconstruct the entire boatyard. This place wasn't really developed, so moving this stuff is really easy. It's all just 32 by 32 base plates really, with some brick and some plate and some road plates. So you just pop it out of the position there, get it the heck out of the way, expose those white tables, and get this area ready for some more color and awesome stuff. Next, I'm going to slide the campground back to where it was. Pretty easy to move this though. Once again, it's all one big chunk, so I can literally just slide it on down toward the Ninjago mountain. Pretty much all of these open plates have got to get out of the way because this whole area is changing. These were just open plates that needed to be developed. I was going to put like bus stations and the shrimp shack and different stuff there, but I never really got around to doing it, so moving this stuff isn't really the end of the world either. Now I'm going to move the entire beach. So there goes the old fishing store, and now this all should move as one big chunk as well. So it's pretty neat. We can just slide it on down into its new position. And to be honest with you, I have no idea what the exact layout is going to be. I was mentioning earlier that the 7 base plates can't be side by side. But things change a million times, especially when you're actually physically moving the stuff around. You're like, oh, that actually will work. So yeah, it is going to work to have the entire beach in one big solid chunk that's 7 base plates long, where the boatyard used to be. Now I have to start moving all of the modular buildings and the road to try and accommodate our new layout. Detaching things like the raised train line, that's got to go. It's got to get out of the way because it's going to be reconfigured. Got to move the entire segments of modular buildings with their roads. And you know what? It's rather difficult because aligning everything just becomes quite the task. But I will say, I know I sound like a broken record. Thank goodness for mills, because all of this stuff is just so easy to move now. It is truly a pleasure. And it's one of the things that I love about LEGO Cities is you have these sets, they're on display, you can reconfigure it in literally a countless amount of different configurations. So it's one of the reasons why I change my city up so often. And I really like the concept of having a boatyard, but I just think it was taking up a lot of space. And what's really interesting is when I removed the boatyard and redistributed all those plates, every section of the LEGO City got a small expansion. The campground, the beach, modular buildings, and even road. Because road is just necessary, in my opinion. In order for minifigures to access all of these different amenities, we need lots of road plates. Now, one thing I want to mention is that I'm filming this video in one day, so none of these changes that we've done are 100% complete. And that includes modular building positions. I know the positions of some of these make absolutely no sense, but that is going to change in the future. A little progress update for you here. Looking so much better because you're not hit with this wall of modular buildings right after this beautiful beach. So I think it's just way more open, and actually the modular buildings are going to be way more exposed. You can actually see them now. It's way better. I love having these long streets. I realize that they're really long streets and it's sort of like a grid, but it maximizes the exposure of your modular buildings also while maximizing space as well. Because this block right here has 2.5 base plates open now, and this block has half a base plate open. So we've actually opened up 3 spots for modular buildings, plus there's all the space back there in the canal. I might shift the canal forward and give those Venetian houses a little bit more space by that train track there, and that might gobble up some of the space, but still we have more open space to do cool things with modular buildings. And we have the extra space on the beach as well. I think these buildings will look a lot better when they have more room to sort of be spread out from one another. So that's good. Also, this leftover space here is going to act as a division of some sort from these mini modular buildings, which have stayed with the beach and the farm. Also, some sort of way to blend this creek into the ocean right here. So all of this work has to be done in this corner here. This is going to be fully detailed and fully mills plated, and it's not going to be all beach. It's sort of going to transition into rocks and stuff like that over here, I think. Everything can change. Everything always changes, so you never know what's going to happen there. One thing that I have to do is go around and upgrade all of the roads, because I've used some just road plates there, because a lot of them have to be like retailored to accommodate train track, because there's going to have to be the train track that curves around there and connects right there. And then there's just specialty ones over here as well, because these were tailored for the other road configuration. Now, I was thinking of getting rid of this road and expanding the campground, but I just like the connected road. Turnarounds just don't look good in my opinion, and having two turnarounds so close to each other just doesn't make sense to me. If I run out of room while making the changes to the campground, then maybe I will make turnarounds, but I don't know. I just think they don't look as good as a connected road. I've got two 48 by 48 plates open right there for campground farm expansion, and I've got another two right over here. So these changes also gave the campground a bunch of extra space. When I installed the raised train track, I made some changes over here that were incomplete. So now with this additional space, making that area look good should be way easier. There's actually another segment of base plates that were opened up as well. There's a row of half base plates right behind the Ferris wheel here, just across the street from Town Hall, heading toward the pillar there. So I can do something here. I was thinking maybe like a treed area or a winding path, or what I could do is connect the ocean through here and turn this into ocean plate and have a boardwalk by the water, and then it could end over here. That's an idea, and it might break up this sand a little bit and be cool if this water sort of continued nice and narrow all the way along over there. Add a nice splash of color to that area. That's something a little bit different than trees and bushes, but then it'd be cool because the water technically would start way back there, trickle through the creek, through the campground, connect to the ocean, and then the ocean would connect all the way around to right there. I actually really like that idea. It'd be cool if I could get this a little bit higher, like these plates, but I think if I put a stone wall there and then just a standard water plate, I think there's enough height to say, okay, well, that's water, and this is a walkway that goes beside the water. You might be asking yourself, why not get rid of that half base plate, shift the modular buildings and road forward, and have more space for modulars? Well, actually, that half base plate there is spacing the pillar so that the raised train track can make a minor course correction and line up with the middle of this road, turn down this street, and connect to the line right there. So the raised train line no longer has to do this major snake S-curve through the center of the Lego city. Now it just has to do a minor course correction and line up with that road there. It's crazy to think that these changes were sparked by the placement of the A-frame cabin. Now I have a pretty good idea of where we're heading, and the next thing I need to do is build some roads and clean up my mess. So I guess we'll touch base after that. I've added parking spots to these three road plates across the way from the campground. I also switched up the sidewalks to grass. I'm going to have to realign the gravel roads once I know the configuration of the campground. I've also decided to put the A-frame in its potential spot. But as I've been mentioning, I want to add some elevation to the campground, specifically a hill right here that accommodates the A-frame cabin. The issue is the creek runs sort of right in front of it, so there might not be enough space to make a gradual incline. The campground is pretty barren right now. That's because there's no trees. I want to try and add elevation somehow. I don't know if I have to reconfigure the whole thing to do that properly because of that creek, but I do have to create these two mills plates right here that are going to accommodate that A-frame and do some sort of hill. I'm just like sold on the idea of getting some more elevation in this area. But you know what? I'm really happy with the outcome of these road plates in front of the campground, so I'm happy I was able to get that done in this update. I didn't have enough time today to work on this area because building road plates is a huge task, and there was actually quite a few of them that had to be done. So I got that straight fixed up there, and then I got all of these straights built with the train track on the side. This is also a funky one right here. It actually starts here and ends over here. This is all one big segment of road plate, and it actually attaches to a half base plate here, this cut base plate that accommodates this pillar, another full base plate right there, and this train track is actually stuck to it as well. So it's a pretty funky road plate, and I'm glad that those are all done. That's awesome. Looks way better, and look at that. The visibility of the modular buildings is incredible now. Still lots of work to do though. It's crazy. We've got to get this extended over there. I've got to connect the raised train line, and then of course work on developing all of the new open space here in the Lego City, and included in that is the campground. But there's the gist of the new layout. Pretty awesome, hey? I think it looks a lot better. Let me know what you think by commenting below. Remember, like, subscribe, and stay tuned for some more LEGO City updates, because guess what? I'm going to continue working on this new layout tomorrow.